The lesson today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verses 27 through 38. Here's a warning. This will sound so familiar to you. This is going to sound so familiar to you that you may stop listening because you think you already know. But don't fall prey to that. Listen to these words. You should also know that this section of the gospel comes right after, in Luke, right after Luke's version of what we call, in Matthew, the blessed are the. Luke has it too, right? Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you, revile you, and defame you on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for surely your reward is great in heaven, for that is what their ancestors did to the prophets. And it goes on. So then the next section is right after this. What we call in Matthew the Beatitudes, but in Luke, it's just Luke's, comes verse 27. But I say to you that, listen, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies, do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for God is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. God is kind to both the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. May the hearing of these words add insight and blessing to your lives. There it is. Get it right there. There it is. It's there a lot. It's not just in Luke. It's there a lot. It's really everywhere you go in the Bible, Old and New Testament. It's there. It's so annoying. Love your enemy. Love your neighbor. Love, 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 love. It's so simple. Really. It's just so simple, isn't it? I mean, it's just so simple. We love to say it. We love to proclaim it. Love, 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 love your neighbor. Like we like to use it as a weapon sometimes, and people aren't behaving the way we want them to behave, and we want to change their behavior. You don't need to. Well, the Bible says you should love your. It's so great. It really is. And yet, it is so hard. Why is it so hard? Why is our world a wreck? Why is it so hard to love? I think it's because, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think it's because we get really confused. We think that when it says love, we confuse that with like. And we think, well, we can't like everybody. That might be true. But it's not. God isn't saying like your enemies. God isn't saying like your neighbor. God says love. It's so much harder. It's so much harder. I mean, in this text, if you like, that's not what it's about, right? Even sinners will do what they have to do to. I mean, it's not about like. It's about love. It's hard. It's so much harder. I don't know. I think it's probably harder than we make it. Let me tell you a story. So here's this guy, right? Jesus. He comes out of the wilderness and he approaches his cousin, John the Baptist, and he goes into the River Jordan and he allows John the Baptist to baptize him. Why? Why does he have to do that? Well, he does it, but he's clearly accepting a call. He's submitting to God here, right? He's baptized publicly, and people witness it. They see this miraculous thing, and it's amazing. And then he leaves. He goes from there, and he begins this ministry. He begins doing some pretty remarkable things. People are kind of impressed. And then he begins to call disciples, right? Just these. He could call anybody. He just calls these average Joes. Just these fishermen. Fishermen are, I mean, there's just nothing special about them. Nothing. They're just working class people who, for the most part, society couldn't really care that much about. They just, they're just guys. But he calls them. And these guys, they I don't know, there's something about him. They just, there's something kind of mind-blowing. They're willing to just give up everything. They have abundance. They have abundance. They've got a good life. They have a career as a fisherman. They make a decent living. They're not rich. They're not wealthy. They're not gonna be landowners. They're not gonna, be famous. They're not gonna. But they don't care. They have it. It's a good life, really, by the standards of the day. It's a decent life. They just give it up. They give up their abundance to follow this guy who says, you know what? I'm going to teach you how to be fishers of humankind. I'm going to teach you how to fish, to cast your nets in the deep water. Deep water means, it's the metaphor. Deep water is the metaphor for chaos and wild, untamed things. What? I'm going to take you into wild and untamed areas. It's also code, just so you know, it's code for Gentiles. That's where the Gentiles are. Anybody else on the faith? I'm going to teach you how to drop your nets for the wild and untamed places where nobody expects you to go. You never in your life expected to go. You were taught to stay away from there. But we're going to go there. And they say, okay. I just love them. I just love the disciples. They do. They just follow him. They just follow him. Just follow me. Let's do this. Let's get crazy. I'm going to teach you things. They go all the way to Jerusalem with him. All the way to Jerusalem. I mean, they follow him to the cross, to the foot of the cross. They are first-hand witnesses to some of the most remarkable things. They are first-hand witnesses to the most remarkable thing that has happened in the world, right? As we know, that Jesus dies. They watch him. Those who had the courage, some of them hid. And they watch him rise up out of that tomb. Unbelievable. There they are. They see it firsthand. Jesus says that a lot. In case you're counting, I won't give you the numbers, but it's the number one thing he says. The most. Do not be afraid. I know the world is scary. I know people can be crazy. I know there are wild and untamed places. I'm teaching you to drop your nets there. I know it. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. But there they are. They're afraid, these disciples. They just muck everything up. I mean, they have been privy to first-hand knowledge. Jesus sits with them, and he just teaches them face to face. He tells them about the secrets of heaven and the realm of God. I mean, he just gives it to them firsthand, things we would long for, right? But just, gosh, God, why don't you just give me a clear picture? You know, the disciples get it, and they still don't get it. Like, they just muck it up. You could argue that they're not the brightest guys in the room. But I won't argue that, because I like them. I'll tell you why I won't argue that, because I think they're us. Right? They just keep messing it up. They just keep messing everything up. They just don't get it. Time and time and time again. I mean, they go all the way to Jerusalem with this guy, this Jesus, who's been telling them all along what's going to happen the whole time. The Son of Man must die. And in 3 days he'll be resurrected. He'll live over and over for 3 years. This is happening, and then they get there, and it happens, and they try to stop it. Jesus stops them. Put down your sword. Put away your tongues. Stop it. You can't stop this. I don't want you to. You're missing the point. They are there when Jesus meets them on Emmaus Road. They are there when they have decided to return. They don't. What else are you going to do? You just want life to go back to normal. Things are crazy. It's too much to think about. It's overwhelming. I don't know what to do. Let's just go back to fishing. Let's just go fish for fish. Let's just go fish for fish. Remember that? Remember the days when that's what we did? We know how to fish for fish. Let's go do it. So they go back out into a boat. There they are in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, fishing for fish, casting their net into the shallows. And there's nothing. They're just failing miserably at it, and they're really bummed, and they're really depressed, and they're feeling so low, and like, gosh, we can't even fish for fish anymore. And just when they're about to totally give up, they look, and there's Jesus waiting on the shore with some fish. Nice, fresh roasted fish. And it's cold, and it's foggy, and they've been out all night, and they're not even sure who it is at first. Wow, somebody's made us a meal. There's Jesus. Then they're there when Jesus ascends, right? He ascends and just leaves. He says, I'm leaving the earth now. I'm not going to be around in bodily form anymore for you. No more roasted fish on the seashore. You gotta, this is your time now. You can do this, though. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. You have everything to fish in the wild, deep waters. You already have it. You can do what I've done. They're there. They watch. That's Luke. And now we have to go to Acts. Now they're apostles. Now they got to figure out what to do with this. Like, they can't, no more hiding, no more, like, what are we going to do? They got to figure this out. How do we live this message? What is this message? Then they start arguing with each other, like, well, maybe we should just, I know Jesus said the deep water and the wild even let the Gentiles in yet. Let's just stick to us. Like, let's keep it manageable, people. Let's not bite off too much. We don't want to, just, let's do what we know. Because that worked out so well when we fished for fish. Every time. There's 2 accounts where they went fishing for fish and failed miserably, right? At least. Let's just do what we know. Let's not even kind of argue with them and say, well, no, wait a minute, because remember, Jesus said, cast your nets in the wild, deep, untamed waters. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they start wrestling. We call it the Gentile question, the Gentile mission. Should we go out to others? I mean, somewhere along the way, somebody remembers that the real heart of it all, the heart of the gospel, the heart of God's message, God's vision, God's realm, Jesus' ministry, the heart of it was love your enemy and love your neighbor and cast your nets in the deep and wild, untamed waters, and do not be afraid. Somewhere they remembered that. Thank heavens. It's so tempting. It's so tempting to just stick with what we know and what is comfortable, isn't it? I mean, it's just so easy to just stay in the safety and comfort of our lives and of the people that are part of our lives. People who aren't going to threaten us too much. People who aren't different than us. People who won't challenge us in our worldviews. But that's not what we're called to do. It's not the gospel. It's not the gospel. See, Jesus, the story is that it's the story of love. There can't be a better example of how to love than Jesus' relationship with his disciples. I mean, these guys are fools. They just mess up time and time again. Like, mess up big, too. Not just small mess ups. I mean, geez, Peter cuts the ear off of a guy. I mean, come on. He really mucks it up.
Oh, yeah.
Time and time again, these guys. Peter denies Jesus 3 times. Judas betrays him, right? You've got, they don't even, I mean, they just mess up over and over and over and over and over and over. Jesus tenderly and lovingly just holds them and says, okay, again, let's do this again. One more time. Every time. Jesus doesn't get fed up and say, get away, I'm done with you. Just holds them. That's what we're supposed to be doing with each other. Yeah. Not just with each other in this room, with each other outside in this world. Yeah. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah. We're supposed to be loving, which means to respect, to be kind, to be forgiving, to be just. We're supposed to love, and we're supposed to fish in the deep waters, to show this love, to show this concept of God's realm, this world of justice, of real justice and openness out in the deep waters and everywhere we go. This week has been a hard week, for lots of reasons. But it's especially hard to hear the news of what happened with the United Methodist Church this week. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, the United Methodist Church had a special session of their global church church, and they had a special session they held in St. Louis, Missouri, where they voted on whether or not they would change their rules on the acceptance of homosexuals in the church, the LGBTQ community, and whether or not they would allow the ordination of LGBT clergy. There's already lots of clergy in the United Methodist Church who are openly out and are gay, but the way the rules are now in that denomination, the way they were, they did that at great risk. That there was a real risk. They could be called out for a hearing. They could be censored. There's all kinds of problems with that. And so there was a move that they've been working for years to try to find a way and find language to make room, to open up. Sadly, the vote this past week, did not go well. And there was just no coming and meeting of minds. And so when they ultimately they cast the votes, they not only voted to retain the rules as written and not change them, but to actually make them worse. They voted to make it worse, so that now the rules are written in a way that it's the punishment for being an ally or being gay is more severe. So not only somebody who is gay would be punished, but an ally, a clergy who performed a same-sex union or marriage would lose their standing. A clergy who supports LGBT rights in any kind of way could lose their standing. It's a very sad day. It's a very sad week, because I have many colleagues who are in the UMC. In fact, Claremont, where I'm receiving my doctorate degree this summer, in May, that it is a United Methodist institution. And so it was really hard to hear just the mournful cries of the clergy and friends. They're just really hurting. And they're hurting because they feel as if the church has cast them out. Because they have. And it'd be really easy for me to stand up here in the safety of the disciples denomination and feel kind of like, well, that's them. But it's not. It's all of us. Their history is our history too. When any of us cast our nets in the shallow water, instead of going deep, instead of a willingness to embrace the wild and the untamed depths that Christ has called us to, it's all of us. You have Martin Luther King Jr. who said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. As you reflect on your faith, as you seek to live your faith, I invite you. It's not even me, it's an invitation. It's a standing invitation, really, from Jesus. To go deep. To stop the nonsense of casting people out or casting people away. I don't care who they are, for any reason. When we do that, for any reason, you're destroying the gospel. You're destroying the church. It's not what it was about, ever. What net? Whose net?